Good evening and welcome to the F13 division for PlayStation on F1 2021 in the PSGL. Round 6 takes us to the Northamptonshire countryside at Silverstone for the British Grand Prix. A short qualifying session of 18 minutes followed by a 26-lap Grand Prix. I'm Tom Cairns in the commentary box giving you the details for tonight. We're just waiting on a few more drivers to make their way into the lobby as we are around 5 minutes away from starting. And a couple of driver changes to take note of. Dan, WDR, is in place of Clausen in the Mercedes. And Speakwin is in place of Tomo Jr. in the Alfa Romeo. That's all I know of in terms of changes at this moment of time. I'll keep you right up to date with what's happening. In the Drivers' Championship, Dino carries on his 100% point scoring record this season. He leads the way by 12 points over Lutzered in second, and then it's Camrals in third, who's another 3 points adrift. So Dino on 45, Lutzered on 33, Camrals on 30. Then it's Gareth Hall in fourth on 29, and Istrai in fifth on 28. Mr. Grumpy, who won the opening round of the season in Bahrain, has only picked up 1 point in the last 3 races. He needs a much better result here today to keep his title hopes alive. There are 7 rounds to go after this race. We're approaching the halfway point, so there's not too much time to be dawdling around while there are championship points on offer. 16 points it is for a race victory, 12 for second, 10 for third. Right the way down to 10th place would get 1 point, along with the championship point for the driver within the top 10 achieving the fastest lap. Just seen that Flying Karat has jumped into the Williams in place of Jehotham, who is not around. There's Joshua Washi, who's made his way in. His full-time seat to Alpine. Now, 2 drivers we are waiting on at the moment. Sarking's already made his way in. There's only one. Both AlphaTauri drivers are in now, which is good news. Just looking to see if Sabetti's going to make his way into the lobby. If not, who's going to substitute for him? And I haven't seen Inosia make his way into the lobby yet either, so if I could be informed of what's happening, then that would be great. Whilst we're waiting, do feel free to get involved in the live chat. Make sure you do leave a like and subscribe to the PSGL and help us reach 10,000 subscribers within the next week. Be very, very much appreciative if you do so. Since the start of the season, the PSGL has gone up by 6,000 subscribers just in that period alone, which is absolutely fantastic. Never thought I'd be saying that, but it has happened. And it can only get better from here. So do make sure you leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. For your information, there is a slight calendar change with the addition of the Portimao circuit that was released earlier this week. Portugal will be replacing Japan for round 9 of the championship on the 7th of October for the F13 race. So that I'm sure a lot of drivers will be looking forward to racing on that in the weeks to come. Not to mention that Imola is going to be released in October and Jeddah in November. And both of those circuits will be included in the season 30 calendar in the new year. So we've got 18 drivers in at the moment. We are still waiting on a couple at the moment. Inossi has just made his way into the lobby, so he'll be in his Aston Martin. And possibly, I think we're going to be waiting just another 5 minutes by the looks of things to see if that Alfa Romeo seat can be filled, and then we can get underway with some racing at Silverstone. And whilst we are waiting, there's also the PCF1 race that's happening right now. George Morgan in the commentary box for that one. And then at 8 PM British Summer Time is the PlayStation F2 division race. On Sunday, there's the F10 and 11 races for PlayStation at 7 PM, and then F9 at 8. And finally on Monday, there's the F2, 3, 7 PlayStation division races at 7 PM, and at 8, there's the F1, 5, 6, and 8 division races at 8 PM. So there's plenty of action to look at a few days. So do make sure you follow them as best as you can. We'll have a look at the teams championship at the moment, because I know that Lutzered and Camrals are sitting in 2nd and 3rd respectively, which has helped Ferrari lead the way by 9 points over Red Bull. 63 points to Red Bull's 54. Haas are in 3rd on 36. Didn't score last time out though. Mercedes are in 4th on 32. Williams in 5th on 31. And Alpine in 6th on 30. So it's hotting up at the moment. And the maximum number of points you can score in a round of PSGL for one team is 29. So can Dino carry on his points scoring form? Or can Lutzered and Camrals get back into it? Garofalo will be fancying his chances though. 2 podium finishes to his name, both of which being 3rd places in Bahrain and Italy. Mr. Grand Prix in need of a strong result here tonight. And it looks as though we've got 20 drivers in play now. Who has filled in the Alfa Romeo seats? It's Darth Zelo T, who's in place of Sabetti by the looks of things. So we are raring to go for round 6 of the F13 division of PlayStation in the PSGL. And another thing to add is drivers with penalty points. Faye's Whip Killer has got 5 penalty points to his name. Mr. Grumpy already on 6 for the season. If a driver achieves 10 penalty points within a 4-month period, that would be enough for a race ban. And that race ban would take place in the round that precedes the last set of penalty points being dished out to that driver. And Dion Knoll is on 3 penalty points as well as is Inosia, so another couple of drivers will be looking to keep their noses clean here tonight. Camrals also has a couple of penalty points. And that's that. So we're looking to see some cars out on track shortly. Just a reminder of all the rounds remaining in this championship. There's Silverstone, that's happening now. Then it's the Red Bull Ring in Austria next week, followed by China. And then Portugal, the newest round for this season. Canada on the 12th of October. I think it's meant to say the 14th, actually. but we'll see further down the line. Then it's Mexico City on the 21st, USA on the 28th in Austin, and the final round will be at Interlagos in Brazil on the 4th of November for F13 in the PlayStation category for the PSGL. And seeing Aston Martin make his way out on track, that will be in Austria. So who will take pole position here? There's no points on offer for pole position. Although one driver to look out for especially is Gerber, who's taken pole position in 3 out of the 5 races so far. He's only 10th in the World Championship, picking up 15 points, with 2 of those coming in the last 3 rounds. So Inossia didn't compete at Silverstone last season. That was because the PSGL didn't race at Silverstone. It was a 10-round championship in season 28. It's a 13-round championship this time. So there are a total of 14 drivers on track now. Make it 16 once the Ferrari of Luttered and the Alfa Romeo of Darth make its way out onto the track. Darth, who is making his first appearance in the PSGL this season in F13. You need to watch the Aston Martin though, because it's coming out of the pits now, and he didn't see him in time there, and he almost held him up. So one of the stewards will have a word with him of his entering the track there. He should have seen that Inossia was coming. He didn't do so in time. So Inossia through turn 1, 27.7. And coming through Luffield and through Woodcote then. What can Inossia do here as he approaches the first turn? Well, I'll say the first turn. It used to be the first turn after the old pit straight. And Kemrels has crashed out somehow. Oh, he's retired in the pits. I'm not sure what's happened to him, but he'll be starting at the back of the grid no matter what. Inossia's lap time has been invalidated as he exceeded track limits at the Maggots-Beckett's complex. And Milam goes for a spin. He avoids the wall. Now, F13 Mo is finished in the comes, and it's a 128.8. So he puts him on top, given that he's the only driver to set a lap time so far. And Joshi over the line in the Alpine will eclipse that time by over 1.3 seconds, and he goes to provisional pole position. Sarking and Istrai have posted times as well in the Haas cars. 1 minute 27.7 for Sarking and a 128.4 for Istrai. Face Wickler goes up to third with a 128.1. Speakwin fourth on the mediums on a 128.1. Don Danks has posted the 7th fastest time so far on a 128.8 on the soft compounds. Got an Aston Martin over the line, that's Dion Knoll. 128.1 for him on the mediums, that's not too bad of a time. He may decide to go for another effort. Who's next over the line? There's Dan, who's just coming around to complete his outlap. And F53 Mo will be coming back into the pits at the end of this lap. We'll go to Luttered next as he was on a flying lap, but his lap time's been invalidated for track limits, so we'll come away from him. And we'll go to Mr. Grumpy. He'll be one of those to look out for in the Ferrari. One minute 27.4 is the benchmark, but he's on the medium compound, so He'll want to try and beat Speed Quinn if he can. Through Club he comes. And onto the Hamilton Straight, of where he'll cross over the line. It's a 1:28.1. And he does go in front of Speed Quinn. So that's a good lap time there from Mustard Grand Prix, who's got in front of Whitkiller as well. And who else is on a flying lap? Don Danks is on an improvement here by the looks of things. And he goes up to third with a 1:27.8. So that's more like it there from the Alpha Tauri pilot. When the Alfa Romeos is coming over the line. I think that's Darth who's just completing his outlap. No, it's Speedquint who's coming over the line to complete a lap or just start another one. So he's 7th at the moment. And we'll go to Milan, who has yet to post a lap time so far. He's not low on fuel at the moment, so he'll just want to get a banker lap in, no matter what. And he goes 10th with that, only in front of his teammate by over a couple of tenths. Dan will need to go again in the Mercedes. That time invalidated. Gareth Hall completes his outlap and he'll start his first time lap. Darth is also on his outlap, so he'll want to be backing off there. Steve also about to start his first time lap. Lutzered is about to post his first time, so we'll ride on board with him. Through Club. What is this effort going to be for him? 1 minute 28.7. He goes 11th with that. And Don Danks making his way back into the pit lane. I think what happened to Camerals was he just pushed too hard. He caught the pit wall, I think. So looking to see what else is happening on circuit. There's got one of the Alfa Romeos coming through. Not Darth. There's Speedquint. He's making his way back into the pits now. And Dan is on a flying lap in the Mercedes. He's just looking to get a banker lap in at the moment. He's coming into the pits at the end of that one. Gareth Hall coming through Club. And it's going to be a 1:28.2 for the Williams pilot. Steve in the Red Bull coming through. And it's a 1:28.4 for him. That puts him 10th. And now we're waiting for the next set of drivers to come through. Inossi has gone third fastest on a 1:27.8. Another driver who won last week. That was Camerals. He started the race from 17th on the grid, which makes it the 4th time this season that a driver from 17th on the grid or below has won the race, which is quite fascinating. And we've got more drivers coming around to complete some laps here. There's Darth. He hasn't posted the time yet. He's got a Red Bull in front of him. Gets a bit of a tow, but not too much. How close can he get on his debut appearance this season? So Darth over the line. It's a 1:29.5. He's the slowest of all those who have set lap times. So he goes behind F13 Mo by 7 tenths. So he's well off the pace at the moment. Dion Knoll on a much better lap time from before. Dion Knoll's best result this season has been a 3rd place finish in Zandvoort. Just making his way through club now. Is this going to be good enough to put him up there? It's good enough to put him on provisional pole. That's a very good lap time there from Dion Knoll. He goes up to P1 by nearly a couple of tenths of a second. Gerber's just started another lap, as has Whitkiller. Got less than 7 minutes remaining of qualifying. And it's Dion Knoll who's fastest, so Josh Iwashi in second place. Sarking third ahead of Mr. Grumpy, and Inosia, Don Danks, Gerber, Whitkiller, Speakwin and Gareth Hole make up the top 10. Don Danks up to 6th with his time. Not doing too bad of a job so far. Dino's just started the flying lap. And that's Joshy out of qualifying. He's crashed out on the exit of Farm Corner. So Joshy will not take pole position here. But he could still be on the front row later on. By the way, he will not compete anymore in qualifying. Whipkiller's made a mistake on the exit of Cops. Gerber is not on a faster time than before. So he decides to back out of it. Mylan's got off the track as well at Farm. So he's binned it. So that's another driver gone from qualifying. Mylan, who doesn't have the best of records here at Silverstone, has crashed out of qualifying here. Now Dino, one of 4 drivers yet to post a lap of any sort. The championship leader just about kept his car within track limits despite running wide there on the curbs. And he's backed out of it here, off that error. Speakwin over the line to improve, to go up to P2 with that lap time. Unless he actually exceeded track limits, he may well have done, hence why he's not gone up the order. So Dan looking to go again. Dino hasn't started another lap yet. And he's going to get a lap on the board of any sort. So at least he'll move up a few positions, but he wants to be going for much higher than that. So Dino crosses the line to start his lap now. Dan will be about to start his. The driver's anticipating the track conditions for when they do go out for one last effort as the track evolves. So ideally want to be out of the pits by the 2-minute mark. So Dino running wide there. And Sabetti has joined, but his seat has already been taken for tonight. So he won't be able to be out there like the others. All the seats are taken. So Dino, with his lap time at the moment on the mediums, he's probably looking at around where Speakwin and Stee are. So through Stowe. He's coming back into the pits, actually. That's probably wise, if I'm honest with you. Dan out there, though, in the Mercedes. Looking to get his first lap time on. Was it going to be here? It's going to be a 1 minute 28.4. That puts him 11th. Feinkraut has gone off at turn 4 by the looks of things. Just allowing someone else to go through. He must have made a mistake somewhere. Darth on an improvement already in Sector 1. He did come out and say that he had no practice beforehand tonight. So he's very much up against it here. There's an AlphaTauri on a flying lap, I believe. No, they're on out lap. So we'll stay with Darth for now and watch him complete what should be an improvement. 6 tenths up by sector 2, so he's found a little bit more time. In fact, he found about 3 more tenths on this lap, so this is going to put him round about where Lutzerred and F13 Mo are. So through Vale and coming towards Club Corner. Can Darth go up the order? No, he won't, because he's exceeded track limits at Club. And that is not only that lap time invalidated, but the next one as well, so he may as well back out of it. So F13 Mo is on an improvement in the McLaren. So over the line, he goes up to 8th. Nice job there from F13 Mo. He did well in qualifying last week at Monza. We'd end up in the top 5 or top 6. Oh, Dino's gone. And Flying Kraut has crashed out as well. So Dino and Flying Kraut will start the race from the back of the grid. Both of them have set times, but nowhere near representative enough to get them up the order. So watch Speakwin start what will be his final attempt. And now we'll go over to Don Danks, who is 3 tenths up from before in Sector 2. We're into the last minute now. So Don Danks, can he get up to the front row maybe with this one? P3 for him. Missed out on the front row by 400s, but it's a very good effort from him. And he's exceeded track limits at turn 1. So third is his best hope for this session. Dion Knoll is about to start his final attempt. Or is that Anossia? No, Anossia's gone off, and Anossia's not going to have enough time to get round before the checkered flag. So we'll go to Speakwin, or Darth, who is coming around to start his final attempt now. Oh, he's just slowed down actually, so he'll start 17th on the grid. 10 seconds remaining then. Who is on fast lap? Sarking's out as well. He stops in the pits, so he won't be improving. Gareth Hall not improving either. He's hit the wall as well as he came into the pits. And 53 Mo also coming into the pits. Steve likewise. He's not going to be able to get round to the checkered flag in time to do another lap, I don't think. Or is he on a fast lap here, I wonder? He may be on a fast lap. We'll stay with him. No, there's no improvement there. Speakwin looking to improve on his time here. And he goes up to provisional pole by half a second over Dion Knoll. That's a brilliant lap time there from Quinn. So he goes up to provisional pole. And I don't think anyone else is going to have an answer, although Dion Knoll through Sector 2. He's only a 100th up from before, so I don't think he's going to improve on his effort here. Mr. Grumpy also on a flying lap. His tries backed out of his lap time. So Dion Knoll and Mr. Grumpy are going to be the last drivers to improve lap times potentially. So can Dion Knoll extend the margin over Gerber here? No, he doesn't. Mr. Grumpy further behind has just gone into the pits. So Speakwin is on pole position for the British Grand Prix here at Silverstone. He's yet to score a point this season so far. Can he do so here today? He's already taken pole before at Spa. And he's very much on course. Well, he's definitely on pole position here, so that's 2 pole positions for Speakwin this season. Gerber has 3, and the other pole position is Lutzerred at Magny Court. So here's your grid then for the race. Speakwin on pole with Dion Knoll alongside. Gerber and Don Danks make up the second row, followed by Joshi and Sarking on row 3. Mr. Grumpy and Inossia make up the 4th row, with F13 Mo and Istrai rounding out the top 10. Face Whipkiller and Gareth Hall line up next to each other on row 6, followed by Dan and Steve. Milam and Lutzerred are on the 8th row ahead of Darth. Flying Karat and Dino are next up in 18th and 19th positions. Camrals did not set a lap time at all. So the top, or 2 of the top 3, or the top 3 contenders for the championship are outside the top 15. This is going to make for an interesting race. The only driver within the top 10 who'll be starting on the mediums is Mr. Grumpy. it's much cooler conditions, but the track is still dry. I'm not sure if we are expecting rain. That's something for which the drivers can inform me on. Now, one driver who did finish second at this track in the PSGL once upon a time was Mr. Grumpy in season 25 when he was competing in the F5 PlayStation division. And Dion Knoll already has a third place to his name at this track in season 27 in F11. And Dion Knoll will be starting on the front row next to Speedquin. Here we go then for the formation lap. Time to have a look to see who is starting on what. So Mr. Grumpy has already mentioned he's on the mediums. Those outside the top 10 on the mediums are Whip Killer, Gareth Hall, Mylan, Flying Karat, Dino and Camrals. The rest are all on softs. There are 2 DRS zones around the Silverstone track. One on the Wellington Straight and the other on the Hangar Straight. We did used to have a third DRS zone on the Hamilton Straight in 2018, but that was taken back off after the accident involving Marcus Ericsson that brought out the safety car. So 18 turns on this current configuration of Silverstone. It's been the home of the British Grand Prix since 1987. It's been hosting a Formula 1 World Championship race every year since then. Silverstone was, of course, the venue for the first ever Formula 1 World Championship events in 1950, which the late Giuseppe Farina won for Alfa Romeo and would go on to become the inaugural Formula 1 World Champion that year. And talking of which of Alfa Romeo, there is an Alfa Romeo on pole position tonight. So if you have just joined us, we do welcome you. Do make sure you leave a like and subscribe to the channel and get ready for some wheel-to-wheel action. This is Formula 13 for PlayStation in the PSGL. There's also the PC F1 race involving Jarno Opmeer, Lucas Blakely and co. George Morgan in the commentary box for that. So Speedquin on pole, ahead of Dion Knoll. Gerber behind them, with Don Danks in 4th place. And Joshi, after crashing out in qualifying, will start 5th for Alpine. He needs a good result today, as does Mr. Grumpy. So here we go then. 20 cars on the grid then for Silverstone. Round 6 of Formula 13 in the PlayStation category in PSGL. Who will lead the cars into turn 1? Will it be Speedquin or will it be Dion Knoll? The 5 red lights appear in front of the drivers. It's lights out, and away we go. Dion Knoll got the better start by the looks of things. It's going to lead into Abbey Corner, I believe, but no, it's the Alfa Romeo of Speedquin who maintains the advantage over the Aston Martin. Don Danks in 3rd place. Joshua Washi up in position as well. Gerber's made a terrible start, though. From 3rd on the grid, he's down to 5th already as the drivers make their way through the loop for the first time. Speedquin in the lead, Dion Knoll 2nd, and it's Joshi who dives to the inside of Don Danks at the loop to go off into 3rd place. So Joshi with a brilliant start there for Alpine. One of the McLarens going off onto the runoff area. It looks like F13 Mo that could well be. But Joshua Washi is in 3rd place behind Dion Knoll, and Speedquin has a yellow flag in sector 1, but it's cleared away anyway. So Speedquin getting off the line fine so far. That's a brilliant start from him. As they make their way through Cops, further behind some action as Mr. Grumpy dives to the inside of Inosia. These two were fighting over the lead in Bahrain in the opening round of the season. Remember, before Inossia crashed out, that handed the victory to the Alpine driver. Someone has gone off behind. Not sure who it is. There's debris all over the track somehow. It's Lutzer Red. So after a dismal qualifying, he is already on the back foot. And F13 Mo's front wing has gone, as has Cameron. So both Ferrari's front wings have gone on the opening lap. And the VSC being deployed already on the first lap. I don't think we're going to see some pit lane activity apart from those who have lost their front wings. Cam Rolls' race is already ruined as for F13 Mo and Lutzered. I don't know if they came together at Copse Corner. Darth is also in the pits for repairs, and Faze Whitkiller has also been penalised for speeding in the pit lane. Both have done as well. It's a 60km/h pit lane speed limit here at Silverstone. So 5 drivers in the pits at the end of that first lap. So one of that's debris actually from the contact. So I think the VSC was probably the right decision with all that debris lying around. Otherwise, someone could have been picking up a puncher with all that debris lying around. So Speedquin is in the lead with Dion Noel in second place. Josh Iwashi up a couple of positions in third place. Don Dunks is fourth. Gerber down 2 places to fifth. And it's Inossia and Mr. Grumpy. We're back on the way then. Speedquin ahead by over a second, which will be crucial for when the DRS is enabled. Dion Noel behind him in second place. Josh Iwashi all over the back of the Aston Martin. He is desperate for a good result today, is Joshi, who has not scored, or has failed to finish in the last few rounds. He's failed to finish in the last 4 races, actually, so Joshi aiming for a much better result here today. The only finish he has had has been a 4th place finish in Bahrain, considering he qualified on pole position there. And inside sector 1 as well, that's one of the Ferraris going for a spin. It's Camrolls who's just gone onto the hard tyres. So those guys have just pitted, will be hoping for a safety car later on. So Inossia in 6th place ahead of Mr. Grumpy, who needs to make sure he keeps his car clean today. He is on 6 penalty points, which means he's 4 penalty points away from a race ban. And the fastest laps are coming in left, right and centre at the moment. We've only just done the second lap and we've just been under a virtual safety car as well, hence why the fastest lap has kept on changing. So here we are on lap 3. The DRS has been enabled. You can see Joshi closing in on Dion Noel. Can he use the DRS to his advantage? They're on a similar amount of ERS mode, well, similar usage of ERS as they make their way through Copse Corner. Dion Noel running wide there on the exit. May well get a warning for that. DRS open then. Can Joshi get past the Aston Martin and go up into second position? Doesn't do so. There was a bit of activity going on behind us. Stee and Dan go wheel to wheel. Stee to the outside at Stowe. He gets through and up into the points. That was a good move there from the Red Bull. Speedquin with a new fastest lap. Dion Noel takes that away from him. And the fastest lap just keep on changing all the time, which is good to see. Close racing, not just fighting over race position, but also for the fastest lap. There is a championship point on offer for that. The driver with the fastest lap at the moment is Inossia in 6th place. Amazingly, all 20 cars are still running so far. Milan moving ahead of Dan to go up into 11th place. And someone's gone off in sector 3. That's Camrolls, who's gone round again for Ferrari, and he's fallen behind his teammate. The championship leader, Dino, is in 13th position, but he started the race on the medium compound tyres, so we're not expecting to have the tyre advantage at this stage anyway. We will do towards the end. Playing the long game is the best way to go about it here at Silverstone, although you want to be starting well. So So Joshi using the DRS to close in on Dion. He won't get through on him here at Stowe. So he waits behind. Joshi gets a time penalty now for track limits. That's 3 seconds for him, which is not good news. Flying Karat moving ahead of his Williams teammate Gareth Hall to go up into 14th. And Ignacia running wide a little bit. Istrai gets a time penalty for track limits as well. So that's 3 seconds going to him. Dion Knoll closing back in a little bit now on Speaker. The gap is just over a second, so not quite enough for him to have the DRS on the Wellington straight. Dion Knoll, who has finished on the podium at Silverstone in the past in the PSGL, aiming for another one here. Speakwin, remember, he is a reserve driver for tonight. He's doing a fantastic job already. Definitely a much better job than what he did so at Spa, where he actually dominated until the safety car came out and he ended up in a right melee with the Aston Martin of either Dion Knoll or Ignacia. I think he was a McLaren driver when he was competing in that. That saw him out of the race, which was an utter disappointment for Quinn. So he's doing a much better job here so far. So completing lap 5. Camrose now has a penalty to his name for track limits. He's struggling to get that car turned into the corners as well. He's not enjoying these hard tyres either. I wonder if he may have floor damage of some sort from the contact on that one. I've just seen a battle ahead as Darth and Face Whipkiller go toe-to-toe, and Gerber has moved in front of Joshi Washi, who's made a mistake somewhere. He's lost his front wing. So another problem there for the Alpine driver. I don't know how he's managed to do that. But he's now fallen behind Ignacia, and he'll be ducking into the pits for a new front wing and a change of tyres, and that could be him out of a shot of a points finish here today. Now he needs to be careful because he's got drivers trying to get through behind him. No, he needs to be careful here now. He knows he's got a car that's not going to be able to turn into the corner. Well, it needs to try and stay out of everyone's way, to be honest with you. Does Joshi. Dan gets a time penalty as well for track limits. So Joshi will be coming into the pits at the end of this lap. Now, does he get the car slowed down in time? Yes, he does. So Darth has been penalised again for track limits this time. So Joshi will be falling towards the back of the field now, making his stop earlier than scheduled. F13 Mo has been penalised for track limits as we watch the Aston Martin of Ignacia trying to get past Gerber for 5th place. Mr. Grumpy's got ahead of these two in all the chaos involving his teammate. So Mr. Grumpy up to 4th position and closing in on Dunk Dance ahead. Dion Knoll is now half a second behind Speakwin, so Quinn is beginning to struggle on his soft tyres, it seems, but Dion Knoll is on the same compound as him. Perhaps Dion Knoll has been more kind to his tyres than Quinn has been. This could be the battle between these two for the race victory today, as Ignacia gets a time penalty for track limits. Down the hanger straight and coming towards Stowe. No change of lead there, as Ignacia continues to harass Gerber behind. Steve making a move on Istrai for 7th place, and that's a good move from the Red Bull. Does Istrai keep his car on the track? Not quite so, but he doesn't want to go to. Oh, and Milan Nearly went into the wall whilst he was battling with Sarking behind. Needs to be careful because he's got the Mercedes and Dan behind, and Dan spins. So Dan goes for a spin as Garofalo looks to get past the Mercedes and does so. Istry's got penalised again for track limits. So that's 6 seconds he's got now. So Speakwin in the lead. Still. DL Null in second place, and Don Danks is a further 3 seconds back. Mr. Grumpy is in 4th position. Not within DRS range yet. Needs to watch Gerber behind though. And Dino's past Milam now to go up into the points for the first time in this race. Milan backs out of it, and wisely so. And FaZe Whipkiller has been penalised as well for track limits. His penalty goes up to 8. Although he will be able to serve 5 seconds of that at his next stop, because that's a pit lane speeding penalty rather than the track limits penalty. We're on lap 9 of this race now. Dion still within a second. It could come down to the pit stops actually, with the field so close at the moment. Dan now gets penalised for speeding in the pit lane. That won't be what he wanted. So Mr. Grumpy on the mediums now. His tyres will be in the optimum window. He's the highest of those on the mediums. Grumpy waiting for his opportunity. Don't expect the leaders to be coming in just yet. But here's Dion Null then. He's about to go for a move on Speakwin to the inside into Stowe. Does he do it? Contact made, but nothing too much more than that. It was wheel to wheel. Speakwin did go off track a little bit to make sure he came back on track, and Camrals is out of the race as he's crashed out on the exit of Farm, and now we've got a safety car. Now the bad news for the leaders is that a lot of them have just gone past the pit entry, whereas Steve, Istry, and those behind, Dino decides to come into the pits as well, actually. He's probably going to go into the hard tyres, if I'm honest with you, because there's no way he'll get to the end on the softs. This is real bad news for the leaders here. The top 6 are going to be vulnerable to those behind. Milan's been penalised for speeding in the pit lane as well. Now, what do the leaders do? Will they decide to come into the pits and get the mediums on now? Or will they decide to wait until later on? Flying Karat has also decided to stay out in the Williams. He's on the mediums as well, actually, which explains it. And Darth has been penalised again for pit lane speeding. That's twice he's done that now. This is good news for those who were caught up in the first lap mayhem. Except Lutzered, who's already out of the race now. That's his second non-finish of the season. And with Dino in contention, potential contention of getting a good haul of points here, it's not good for his championship hopes. It's good news for Camrals, though, who's just made his way into the pit lane now to get what I would think would be a set of medium tyres put on the Ferrari. Flying Karat has caught up to the field now. Steve is going to make his way up to them as well. Now, do the leaders come in? They do. Mr. Grumpy stays out though, which is no surprise actually, because he's on the mediums. Flying Carrot also staying out. Istrai is going to go ahead of them. So Speedquint would not have wanted this safety car period. So medium's going on. Out he goes. He stays in front of Dion Knoll, does he? I think Don Danks has got ahead of Dion Knoll, actually. So the Aston Martin has lost out in all this. So Dion Knoll's lost 2 positions to Don Danks and Gerben. I think Inossi has had to wait behind as well. So Inossi has lost even more time being in the pits. He had to wait behind his teammate, who had to be serviced first. He's going to fall behind Whip Killer. So Inossi is going to drop back to 15th place. Sarking exits the pits in 17th position. So Mr. Grumpy in the lead then, with Flying Carrot second, but both of those two have yet to stop in this race. Then it's Stee in third, Istrai fourth. Both of them have time penalties though. Dino is in 5th place on the hard compound tyres. Now, he may not have a tyre advantage to begin with, but he may do later on. And the thing is, Stee and Istrai have penalties, Dino does not. So Dino's got a great opportunity to win this race now. Considering where he qualified as well, I think he's qualified on the back row of the grid, did Dino. He started 19th. So this could be another round this season where a driver from the back of the field takes victory. That's Formula 13 PlayStation in the PSGL for you in Season 29. So the safety car stays out for one more lap. To allow F13 and Camerals to catch up. They will do. This will be the last lap regardless. There's the green liveried Aston Martin safety car that's been added this week as well. It's a very nice looking machine. I have to say Formula 1 has done a great job with what they've done this year in a challenging situation with the COVID-19 pandemic. With the additions of the Aston Martin safety car, the qualifying sprint, which they are trialling at the moment. I think Dion Knowles lost a couple of positions. Under he's had a spin somewhere, and Inossi's just got past him as well, which he shouldn't be doing so. So Speedquin is in 9th place in all this. So he's got a lot of work to do in his hope of taking victory today. So if Dino was to win this race, he would open up a 28-point lead over Lutzered in 2nd place. Camerals is in 19th position. It's going to be very tough for him to get into a points position from there. So not Mr. Grumpy, Dino's going to have a very healthy lead at the top of the championship with 7 races still to go. The safety car is coming in at the end of this lap. So Mr. Grumpy will slow the field right down as he's allowed to do so as the safety car lights do go off. Plenty of drivers with penalties at the moment. We'll have a look at the penalties later on with the gaps. But for now, we want to focus on Mr. Grumpy's restart here. When will he decide to go? He needs to keep it clean, remember. He has got quite a dirty licence at the moment with 6 penalty points out of the 10 that would be enough to give him a race ban. But he's over the line, and he's got a nice restart over the others. So Flying Carrot in second place, trying to fend off the Red Bull of Steve behind. No DRS, remember, for the first two laps as Flying Carrot goes in too deep into Village. Steve is looking to make a move round the outside, so they go through the loop. Steve may have better acceleration, round the outside and more grip. And Steve goes up into second position. He's been given a time penalty as well for track limits, which increases the penalty he's already got. So Steve in second place now, with Flying Carrot third. Istrai is in fourth place. I think he's just got in front of Dino on the restart actually, but Dino gets him back on the restart. I think Istrai's got damage to his front wing on the right hand side, which is not good news for him. It could contribute to him coming into the pits at the end of the lap. Milam gets past as well, as does Gareth Hall. Istrai's really, really struggling now. He needs to watch those behind. Speakwin in particular, who's behind Gareth Hall in ninth place. Ooh, there was nearly contact there. Istrai needs to be really, really careful here. He's going to bunch up the field behind. Speakwin now gets penalised for track limits. So Gareth Hall to the inside as they make their way through Stowe. Flying Carrot gets penalised for track limits. Speakwin loses a position to Don Danks. So Don Danks gets ahead of the Alfa Romeo, who ducks into the pits. I wonder if Speakwin's got damage as well through all that. But that's totally ruined his race now as he enters the pits. So we're on lap 14. We're into the second half of this race now. Mr. Grand Prix leads by 2 seconds. A couple more drivers being penalised. Only 5 drivers are left in this race have not got a penalty. So Mr. Grand Prix on old mediums, trying to stretch out the stints as far as he can. He may be hoping for a safety car. If he does get a safety car, it will very much play into his hands. So Joshua behind Milam in the battle for 5th. Now Milam, who's not had the best of records, he's not finished inside the top 10 in the last 4 attempts here at Silverstone in the PSGL. He's in 5th place right now. So Don Danks closing in on Gareth Hall. Don Danks is on the mediums, Gareth Hall is on the hards. Hall keeps hold of his position ahead of the AlphaTauri. Someone's gone off in sector 2. That's Speakwin, who's gone off at Woodcote. He's into the wall as well. And it just goes from bad to worse for him, doesn't it? After dominating the race again, this has just been very hard luck for him. Has he got out of the barriers? He has done. He's got damage to his front wing though. And someone else has gone off in sector 1. F13 Mo has gone for a spin. I think that's his front wing gone as well in the McLaren. So that'll be him into the pits shortly. That's a shame as well because he's been in contention for points today. It's just not going to be his day. He's continuing to have spins. So Mr. Grumpy keeping hold of the race lead. Steve closing in behind on the fresher rubber. There's Dino in 4th place. And Dion Knoll getting penalised again. 3 seconds it is. Well, he's not been penalised again. That's his first penalty of the race. And Speakwin into the pits. And I think this is going to be a retirement for him. And it is. So that's a very, very big shame for Speakwin. Done everything right up until the safety car period. And he's not going to score points. What a shame. So Whipkiller again in front of Dan as well to go up into 10th place. And now we're watching the Aston Martin of Dion Knoll go to the inside into Abbey. Will they get through together? They will do. Inosia also getting past. He may even take 2 in one go here. Contact made with his teammate. Don't take each other out, guys. Now Aston Martin, who have struggled this season so far. Even with 2 podiums, they should have been taking more points than they have done so far this season. They are 7th on 24 points. As Dan gets back through on Inosia, who goes off track. I wonder if he's got a problem, to be honest with you, with the way he's going off. Has he got damage to his front wing? Yes, he has. So another disappointing race for Inosia, goes from bad to worse. And Dion Knoll gets past Whipkiller to go up into 9th place. Next man ahead of him is Gareth Hall, who's occupying his 8th position. Now Don Danks is ahead. Gerber gets a time penalty for track limits. And Mr. Grumpy's in. So Mr. Grumpy into the pits for Alpine. And this will be the soft compound going on his car for the final 10 laps of this race. Whipkiller into the pits for a new front wing, it seems. Inosia likewise. So Mr. Grumpy completes his stop and will rejoin what should be 14th position for him. And there's a front wing gone on the Ferrari's cam rules, so Ferrari's race continues to get worse for them. And both of their cars are going to be out of the points, no question. Milan getting ahead of Joshi, who goes off the track. He's gone off at Brooklyn's corner. He rejoins just in front of the Ferrari. It's quite a dangerous rejoin to the track. It's contact between the pair of them. And Joshi's race is over. Well, I was going to say, it was a dangerous rejoin to the track from Joshi. It just spins into the path of Camrals. And we've got another safety car. So F13 Mo will be glad to see that, because that way he'll get himself back into the action. And it's good news for Flying Krat as well, because he hasn't stopped yet in this race. And now he's going to be able to stop. So Steve stays out. Oh, that's far too quick there from Flying Krat. Far too quick. Dino also making his way into the pits. Milam stays out on his hard compound. Dino, I would imagine, will go onto the soft compound tyres. So Steve takes the lead of the race. Milam second. Don Danks is in third. Dion Knoll up to fourth now. Sarking fifth. Darth now sixth. But he's got a huge time penalty to his name of 8 seconds. So Flying Krat rejoins in 7th place ahead of Mr. Grumpy, who's now up to 8th. And Whipkiller has been penalised again. That's the 3rd time at least in this race he has been caught speeding in the pit lane. So one of the stewards will be having words with him about that, because he could have run into the back of his trike, who slowed down to the pit lane speed limiter. So we're on lap 18. We've got 8 laps to go at the end of this race. Steve leads, but he's got a time penalty to his name, as has Milan, as has Don Danks, as has Dion Knoll, as does Sarking, as does Darth, as does Flying Krat. So you have to say Mr. Grumpy is in prime position here to take an unexpected victory. Inosia continues to get penalised for track limits as well. Don't understand why he's got that penalty, to be honest with you. He knows he's under the safety car conditions and he shouldn't be getting penalties at this stage whilst he's under the safety car. So we've lost 3 drivers in this race. Joshi Washi, who tangled with cam rules that brought out the 2nd safety car of the race. Speakwin retired after multiple errors following the safety car period a few laps ago. And Lutzerud's retirement caused the 1st safety car F13 still running at the moment. Now those on the mediums and the hards in the top 6 are going to be vulnerable on the softs. And face whip killers into the pits. I think to take another one of his 5-second penalties. He does slow down this time. He's at the back of the field as well, so he hasn't got anything to lose. So out he goes. And Dan's out of the race. What's happened? Dan has come together with someone. Is that with the Aston Martin of Inosia? Either way, Dan has crashed out under the safety car. Now, if it was Inosia, that won't be for the first time this season that he's come together with another car. Let's saw that other car retire. And Whitker has gone for a spin, I think, as well, in the AlphaTauri. So we've lost our 4th driver in this race. The safety car has already gone into the pits. He's coming at the end of the lap. So C will be ready to go. And he leads on the restart ahead of Milan. We're back on the way for the final 7 laps of this race. So Dion going to the inside of Don Danks as they enter Abbey. The AlphaTauri goes wide, but goes for a spin. Does he clip? Keeps out of everyone's way on the restart, and Flying Kratz out of the race. He's come together with someone, so Flying Kratz race goes no further, and neither does the Alpine of Mr. Grumpy. Oh, that's terrible driving standards for Mr. Grumpy, because he joined the track in a dangerous manner and he took out the Mercedes of Gerber in the process. So Mr. Grumpy's season gets even worse through all that. So Don Dose goes off track as well. He's got a broken front wing to his car. So Steve stays in the lead with Milam in 2nd place. Dion Knoll is in 3rd position with a time penalty that's less than the top 2. But I'm sure there's going to be some inquiries in those collisions. So both Alpine drivers out of the race now, and neither will be scoring points. Camrose has also been penalised for track limits. Gerber will be trotting around, getting back to the pits for a new front wing, no question. He will be annoyed with that. So there's Milan in 2nd position. Dino's not got ahead of Darth yet. He wants to be picking off these one by one. So I have to say, it's Dino's race to lose at the moment. 6 laps to go. Now, DRS has not been enabled yet, but it will do on the next lap. Dino going to the outside. Plenty of space for him to position the car and get good drive coming out of the loop. This could well be him going up into 5th place here as they go down the Wellington Straight. Dino's going to get in front, and Dino is going to move up into 5th. And he does so. Whip Killer posts a new fastest up of the race. He's outside the top 10 at the moment, though, so he would not get that point. So Dino's through, up to 5th. Sarking is the next one up. And Darth running wide there at Copse. Can Gareth Hall get through? The answer's no. Camrose is up to 8th now for Ferrari. So Ferrari could well be on course to get some points after all the shenanigans that they have had throughout today. Although Camrose has just lost the position to Inosia, who gets through. Gareth Hall going to the inside. Contact made between himself and the Alfa Romeo, but he gets through. Gerber has gone for another spin in the Ferrari. Contact made between the Ferrari of Camels. Oh, then Camels is off into the gravel. So both of them forcing each other off the track, and I'm sure the stewards will have a look at that. Dion Knoll posts a new fastest lap of the race. So on course to get a championship points for that, as he's got past Milan for second now, and he's going after race leader Steve. So Camels into the pits, out of the race after that contact. He goes no further, so both Ferraris now out of it now. No points for them. And Whitkiller with another new fastest lap in the AlphaTauri. He's moved up to 12th now, so if anything happens to anyone up front, he could get into a point scoring position. He's a long way behind Don Danks though, so he's got to hope for drama up ahead. Milan going off the track, as does Gareth Hall. Plenty of drivers are using the runoff area at the moment. So, from what was a clean race earlier on before we had the first safety car, it has turned quite dramatic now. Here's Dino behind Sarking. Dino waits behind, doesn't need to be taking too many risks here. So Gareth Hall, as it stands, where he is, he would move up to second in the championship. 6th place would give him 5 championship points. Put him on to 34. Dino, as it stands, would be taking the race victory. He would move on to 61. So you'll have a 27-point lead in the Drivers' Championship in F13 PlayStation in the PSGL. Dion Knowles within DRS range now to close in on Steve. And Dino thinking about a move on Sarking. His try moves in front of Darth Zelo, who's about to be overtaken by Inosia as well. So Inosia gets through. And Gerber's gone for a spin on the Hangar Straight. Just sums up his day. So Dion Knoll approaching the Red Bull with DRS. Steve's going to go defensive here. Knoll will go to the outside. To the outside he goes, and into the lead on the road goes Dion Knoll as Gerber enters the pits to retire the car. So we're down to 12 runners now. So Knoll into the lead on the road. Dino trying to get in front of Milan has just been overtaken by Sarking as Dion Knoll posts a new fastest lap. So whilst he's overtaken Steve, he's now posted the fastest lap. But he's got another time penalty, so that's 6 seconds worth for Dion Knoll. So looking at the penalties now, as it stands, Dion Knoll would probably finish behind Sarking and Dino and Gareth Hall. So he could still finish on the podium, but not be on the top step. And Inosia into the pits for a new front wing as well in the Aston Martin. So Whitkiller goes through. And Dino's got past Milan, it seems, although Milan's fighting back. They're going to go side by side into Luffield. Dino surely will have the upper hand with more grip on the soft compound tyres than the McLaren. Onto the old pit straight they go. Can Dino keep his foot in it? To the outside he goes, and up into 4th place goes the Red Bull. So Dino is through up into 4th place. That's crucial in the battle for the race victory. Next up for him is Sarking in the Haas. He won't use the DRS on the exit here, as he was not within a second of the hazard detection point, and Milan will be able to use the DRS to get back ahead of him. So Milan, with a little bit more ERS in store, is able to get back in front of the Red Bull and into 4th position on the road. Gareth Hall's in there as well, so that's potentially Dino's closest championship rival. So we're on to the penultimate lap of the race now. Dion Knoll still leading by only half a second from Steve, but the race result order is going to look a lot different than what we are seeing on track, as Darth has been penalised again He's going to fall out of the top 10 as it stands. Well, maybe not actually, but he'll just sneak into a point scoring position in 10th place. And Milam going defensive on the Wellington straight here from Dino. Dino thinking about a move, but waits behind once again. As the two make their way through Luffield for the penultimate time here at Silverstone. It's been another chaotic Grand Prix in F13. And now we watch Steve looking to stay in touch with Dion Knoll. It's damage limitation time for the Red Bull driver. Now with Dion Knoll in the race lead, he would lose a position to Sarking. And Sarking could potentially be in play for the race victory, you know, depending on what happens behind him involving Milan, Dino and Hull. They're coming through Vale and Club. Dino diving to the inside of the McLaren of Milan. There's contact, and there's contact again, and Milan's front wing's gone. Gareth Hull's through though, and I wonder if the Red Bull suffered damage in all that. By the way, Milan falls down the order. You can see on the left-hand side of his front wing is damaged, and he's going to fall down the order. So we're on the final lap of this race now. Rear wing open on Steve's car. He won't get in front of his rival Knoll, who is ahead. And Knoll's points here today with the fastest lap would put him on to 33 points, which would close into within second of the championship. Gareth Hull's in 5th place now, which would put him on to 34 points, or 35 I should say, with Dino now up to 4th place. That would get him 8 points for this race. It would move on to 63. So they're going toe-to-toe now on track, these two. We are on the last lap of this race. Sarking, his penalty would not be enough for him to take victory. We're going to watch these two go toe-to-toe now. Gareth Hull right behind the Red Bull with DRS. And 50 row gets penalised for track limits. Gareth Hull gets in front of the Red Bull. So Gareth Hull could be in play of taking the race victory. We'll go back to the leaders though, because Dion Knoll is going to cross the line first, but he most certainly won't be taking the victory here at Silverstone. He crosses over the line. Steve second. But it's Gareth Hull, I believe, is going to do enough to take victory at Silverstone. Gareth Hull does not take victory, so Dion Knoll wins the British Grand Prix for Aston Martin. Hull is in second for Williams. Dino is third, Sarking fourth, Steve is in fifth, Istrai sixth. I think Darth is going to drop back with the penalty that does apply, or maybe not. But he finishes 7th on the road. F13 Mo is in 8th. Don Dank's 9th. Milam crossing over the line in 10th place. He'll be annoyed with that, but he's lost that point. So Whitkiller with the penalties applied. Milam 11th. Enosio 12th. But it's the Aston Martin of Dion Knoll who takes victory. And what a victory it was, and gets Aston Martin back on track. What a race we've had here tonight. So there's your top three. Dion Knoll, second on the grid as well. I think that's the highest grid position for anyone to win a race from in F13 this season. But it's 17 championship points for Dion Knoll today. Which moves him on to 33, moves in front of Luke Red and Camrals. But Gareth Hull's second place moves him up to second in the championship. So here's your race results of Gareth Hull in second place from 12th on the grid to get himself up there. Dino is third from 19th on the grid as well. Very well done to him. Sarking fourth ahead of Stee and Istrai. Darth on debut in 7th ahead of Ad53 Mo. He gets his first points of the season. Very well done to him. That's his best result in a long time. Don Dank's 9th and Whipkiller picking up the last point in 10th. Milam 11th and Inosia the last of the finishers in 12th. Gerber retired, as did Camrals. Mr. Grumpy out of the race, and imagine he'll be under investigation for the troubles he's involved with on the restart. Flying Karat also retired at the same time. Dan retired during the safety car period. Josh Iwashi crashed out after contact between himself and Camrals. Speakwin retired shortly after the safety car restart after he dominated, and Lutz retired after he crashed out at Farm. That caused the first safety car period. Well, as far as the championship is concerned, Dino's 10 points moves him on to 55 in total, and Gareth Hall's second place moves him on to 41. So the gap at the top is now 14 points between Dino in the lead and Gareth Hall, who moves up to second in total. Dion Knowles' win moves him up to third on 33 points. Well, that's all for today for F13. Thank you for joining us. There's the PCF1 race that's happening right now if you are watching live. So do make sure you tune into that if you want to see how the likes of Jarno Opmeer, Lucas Blakely and all those get on. On F11 races. There's also F12, I should say, that's already underway right now. There's F10 and F11 on Sunday at 7 p.m. British Summer Time, and F9 at 8 p.m. that same evening. On Monday, F1 to 8 categories, F2, 3, 4 and 7 at 7 p.m. and F1, 5, 6 and 8 at 8 p.m. on that Monday evening. Well, that's all for today. Next round of the championship will be in a week's time at the Red Bull Ring in Austria. Same time next week, 7 p.m. British Summer Time on the 23rd of September. I'm Tom Cairns, and I'll speak to you again soon when the PSGL returns.